Today, we will be talking about SHx and how it can be really good for helping small businesses avoid high payment transaction fees with companies like PayPal, which is interesting because of the individuals who are associated um, with SHx and their ties back into the PayPal mafia. But an interesting example I found was how this is impacting things like the cannabis industry that have to be very careful with how they handle payments in cash because even though it is legal in certain areas of the country, it is still federally not good in the eyes of the law, at least. So I first went down this rabbit hole, thanks to Kay Thingol, um, and he posted an article on why these kinds of small companies would actually prefer SHx to PayPal. And it comes down to the fact that these large companies like PayPal don't really care about these t- t- uh, relatively tiny companies. And when you pay with PayPal, it pops up that you are paying with PayPal, right? And in my personal experience and in my personal opinion, if I see that, then I automatically get the impression that this company isn't really large enough to be able to do things like larger companies do. And it just gives me the impression that it's a mom and pop operation that might not be as sophisticated, which is not true, but that is just the impression that payment type tends to give. But the interesting thing about how it is valuable for these kinds of companies is the merchant rewards program. So for each dollar transacted, it is a reward point that can even be used for a rebate on payment processing fees. And then you have merchant financing as well, which has financing options that more traditional financial institutions and banks might not want to get involved with. So it is a way that that this company is really paving a way for the real world application of SHx. And I believe that they have 100,000 customers and clients and people who are in their pipeline. So it is not a tiny thing. They are putting this out there right now, and it is being adopted. So here's a highlight of that, and it's and it just shows that the actual SHx token is at the core of the merchant financing program. It is the gateway to the future of finance. So they have created the first ever merchant rewards program, and it also provides these more unique financing options as well. So that is concentrating on, I guess, the SHx token backed financing program. So these companies are directly using the SHx token that people like you and I actually hold. So here is the example of an industry that I'm not exactly personally interested in its product, but I do think it is a really interesting industry just because it has to navigate a lot of regulatory compliance hurdles and a lot of traditional financial institutions either can't or don't want to get involved with actually helping these kinds of companies. So it tends to be an industry that only operates on cash, and if if SHx is able to provide a regulatory compliant electronic payment option, that can create a ton of growth, not only in the cannabis industry, but for SHx as well. So my Haven has has integrated SHx at seven of its locations, resulting in a clear value increase. And I have the actual report on the site here, but to just highlight a couple of things, which are in a different post. Actually, it is right here. So the Phoenix Rising, who I actually think this account retweeted one of my posts earlier, so I sincerely appreciate that. But they live in California and have worked in the cannabis industry before, and they also have experience in the Haven dispensaries as well, not only as a customer, but on the more business operations end as well. So it is really big because the amount of cash that the entire cannabis industry can bring in, especially if it has an easier payment option compared to cash. So there are Haven dispensaries all over California. They expanded quickly compared to others out there, and SHx collaborated with Blaze to help with online payments. They also collaborated with Timber to provide an easily accessible payment service for companies in the cannabis industry. They also integrated with TreesPay, which is a popular cannabis company, and they are working together to provide a contactless payment service as well, so it doesn't have cash. That, in their opinion, is probably one of the things why SHx has been able to why Trees was able to survive the last 5 years or so, and in particular through the COVID-19 times as well. They also provided help for the Garden of Eden when faced with challenges with customers and the ordering process online, and how time consuming that could be. Housing Works opened up the very first legal dispensary in New York, and SHx was involved from the very start because of the integration with Blaze. The grand opening was a success. I don't know if these are, yeah. So in this page on the SHx website, it highlights Haven Dispensaries at least, and the working relationship with Blaze ACH payment integration as well. So Haven Dispensaries was able to offer a superior online purchasing option with embedded payments. So here is an example. The results were that Haven Dispensaries had an increase in their average order value by 25% for customers with that payment option, and a 39% increase compared to cash payments alone, which is, it might not sound as if it's a whole lot, but that right there, day after day, is huge. So a lot of this we just explained. Here's the trees one. Yeah, I'll just open these. The timber one and the Garden of Eden one. So I think all of these will be kind of comparable at least. But Trees Pay eliminates a third-party payment application or a separate login, which is an industry first. So over 50% of the consumers at companies offering this chose to actually implement it. And let's see the challenges. Yeah, Coco 19. Unlike more traditional companies, a lot of cannabis companies have been resorting to cash for their order volume. Even when they do work, prior electronic options have been hard to put together with all of the regulatory compliance issues. So this worked because it was an ACH payment option, and that went directly from the customer itself right to that company. High Times online payments reached 47% usage and 27% increase in spending with SHx and timber integration. So this was about the combination of High Times, exceptional customer service, e-commerce menu, and SHx's payment flow, which resulted in a more efficient customer experience. So the results, yeah, I just read that, but the orders were 20% larger than cash orders. This was about payment options for a retail delivery service, and it revolved around how to actually move away from only handling cash, which also made it a lot less risky for the delivery drivers as well. So it's all about a pay online now option. And then our last one, Garden of Eden Trees and SHx launched contactless payments that created a 59% improvement in the average order value. So they processed over 500 prepaid orders on its first day of operation, which was over 50% penetration, which I guess means that they had about 1,000 total orders. Um, to date, prepaid customer orders have shown to be 59% larger than non-prepaid orders. Challenges, the amount of customers and orders seemed like it was the hard thing here, and it just resulted in a lot of cash, and that is just hard to manage when you are carrying around a lot of product and cash. So they worked with Trees and SHx to introduce a prepayment option, which essentially cut out, let's see, about half of the cash, which just improves the efficiency of everything, and it just makes things a lot easier to account for as well. Now, I did comment on it earlier about the fact that cannabis is not federally approved, so there's always a conflict between your local jurisdictions and the federal government. And because most traditional financial institutions tie into the Federal Reserve, a lot of your national and even regional banks won't get involved in this industry. So I just asked AI to just say, how can SHx help cannabis companies due to federal laws against cannabis? And of course, it won't actually come out and say how, but I thought that the interesting thing was probably here. So it says that SHx offers a variety of services, including payment processing, payroll, and banking alternatives. That is the large one there, and that's probably mostly around the where was it? The merchant financing program, right? However, the legality of these services for cannabis companies hinges on their compliance with federal regulations. For example, SHx may use licensed money transmitters or partner with non-federal banks to facilitate transactions, which can help eliminate some of those federal law problems. So I am not advocating for cannabis. I am personally not too interested in it, but from a financial perspective, it is a huge economy, and if SHx can help this kind of an industry, that is probably one of the most challenging out there in terms of the financial element, then just imagine what it can do for different kinds of industries that don't have these kinds of issues.